There was a time when games ended. You would finish the story, maybe replay it, and then move on. A clear beginning, a clear ending. But today, games don't end anymore. They update, they evolve, they expect you to come back. Not once, but every week. So, what changed? How did we go from complete experiences to games that never stop? The idea of a live game didn't begin with battle passes or seasonal updates. It began with persistence. In the early 2000s, games like World of Warcraft and RuneScape introduced something fundamentally different. Worlds that continued to exist, even when you logged off. Servers stayed online, economies continued, other players kept progressing. You weren't just loading into a match, you were entering a shared space that never passed. Developers could patch the game, add content, rebalance systems, all without replacing the product itself. This was the first structural shift. Not just playing a game, but existing inside it. For players, this catered something deeper than gameplay loops. Guilds formed, reputations mattered, moments were shared, not scripted. Logging in wasn't just about progress, it was about presence. The game became a place you returned to, not something you finished. But persistence alone wasn't enough, because maintaining a living world came with a cost. Servers, updates, moderation, constant development, and that cost would reshape how games were sold. To sustain these persistent worlds, developers needed predictable income. The solution was a subscription model. Players didn't just buy the game, they paid monthly to remain part of it. This transformed games into services, long before the term existed. Revenue became continuous. Development became ongoing. Content was no longer tied to a single release. Expansions extended the life cycle. Patches filled the gaps in between. And for a time, this felt fair. Players paid because the world kept growing. New zones, new raids, new systems. There was a clear exchange of value. Time invested felt meaningful, because the game itself was evolving alongside it. But subscriptions came with friction. They required commitment, and not every player or every game could support the model. So the industry searched something more accessible. In the early 2010s, a new model began to dominate: free-to-play. Instead of charging upfront, games removed the entry barrier entirely. Anyone could download, anyone could play. Revenue shifted to microtransactions, cosmetics, character skins, battle passes, convenience systems, and in some cases, progression itself. This changed the relationship between player and game. You were no longer just a customer, you were part of an ongoing ecosystem. The longer you stayed, the more valuable you became. Time wasn't just engagement, it was monetization potential. And that changed how games were designed. Not around endings, but around retention. The goal was no longer to finish the experience, it was to keep you inside it. By the late 2010s, the model had solidified into a repeatable formula. Seasonal structures replaced static content. Battle passes introduced linear reward tracks. Daily and weekly challenges created routine. Limited time events added urgency. Content wasn't just added, it was scheduled. Systems were designed to guide behavior. Log in daily, complete objectives, progress the pass, return next week. For players, this created a different kind of experience, one built on consistency rather than discovery. You weren't just exploring a world, you were maintaining progress within a system. Missing time had consequences. Rewards expired. Events rotated out. Progress slowed. The experience shifted from freedom to structure. And as more games adapted this approach, they began to resemble each other. The industry wasn't just evolving, it was standardizing. Today, live service design spans nearly every major game. Shooters, RPGs, sports titles, even single-player experiences have adopted elements of the model. Battle passes are no longer unique. Seasonal updates are expected. Live events are standard. The system has scaled across the industry. But there is a limit. Players have finite time, and every live service game asks for the same thing: attention, consistency, return. When multiple games demand daily engagement, they begin to compete directly for time, not just against each other, but against the player's routine itself. So, what happens when every game tries to be infinite? Most don't survive, because not every game can be a destination. Games used to end. Now they continue. Live service didn't appear overnight. It evolved. From persistent worlds, to subscription systems, to retention-driven design. Each step made sense. Each shift solved the problem. But together, they changed what games are. So the question isn't just, why did live service games take over? It's whether games were ever meant to last forever. New case files release every Monday, Wednesday and Friday.